Welcome. Today, we're diving into the wild story of Samson, a secret he held and a simple riddle that spiraled into absolute chaos and bloodshed. So, you gotta ask yourself, how does a wedding riddle, of all things, lead to a full-blown massacre? Well, that's what we're here to unpack. Let's get right into this unbelievable story. All right, let's set the scene. Our story starts with Samson. Now, this guy has superhuman strength, and he makes a demand that right off the bat puts him in direct conflict with his family and pretty much his entire people. So what's the big deal? He wants to marry a Philistine woman. And you have to understand, the Philistines were the enemies of his people, the Israelites. So this is a huge no-no. His parents are like, isn't there anyone from our own people you could marry? But Samson, he won't budge. He just says, get her for me. She's the one.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, there's a twist. His parents have no idea that this isn't just Samson being stubborn. There's a whole other layer here. A divine plan is unfolding, and this forbidden marriage, it's meant to be the spark that starts a major confrontation with the Philistines.
Okay, so as Samson is on his way to Timnah to see this woman, his incredible strength gets put to the test. A young lion jumps out and attacks him. And then, bam, the Spirit of the Lord comes over him, and he just tears the lion apart with his bare hands. It's an incredible feat of strength, but here's the key. He tells absolutely no one. This is his secret.
Sometime later, he's passing by that same spot, and you're not going to believe this, he finds a swarm of bees and honey inside the lion's dead body. Yeah, it's pretty weird. He scoops some out, eats it, and even gives some to his parents. But once again, he doesn't tell them where he got it. And this strange little discovery? It's about to become the centerpiece of this whole story. All right, so now we get to the wedding feast. And this is where Samson decides to turn what should be a celebration into a high-stakes battle of wits.
He lays down a wager for his 30 Philistine groomsmen. The bet is for 30 linen garments and 30 full sets of clothes. I mean, that's a ton of money back then. The deal is simple. They have the 7 days of the feast to solve his riddle. If they get it, he pays up. If they can't, well, they owe him. This is way more than just a party game. It's a serious challenge.
And here it is, the riddle itself. Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. Think about it. It's brilliant. It's completely based on his secret experience. The eater, the strong, that's the lion. The something to eat, the sweet, that's the honey. There's just no way anyone could solve this without being in on his secret. Now, for us, knowing the backstory, the answer seems pretty straightforward, right? Put yourself in their shoes. How on earth would you ever guess that the answer involves honey found inside a dead lion? It's just impossible. The riddle was basically rigged from the start.
So, for the first 3 days of the feast, these 30 guys are completely stumped. They have no clue. By day 4, you can feel the mood shift. Frustration starts turning into desperation, and then into threats. The clock is ticking down, and this little wedding game is about to get very, very ugly.
Okay, so since they can't solve the riddle with their brains, the companions decide to use brute force instead. They give up on wits and go straight to making a terrifying threat. And who do they threaten? Samson's brand new wife. They basically tell her, get the answer from your husband or we will burn you and your entire family to death. Just like that, the game is over. This is now a life or death situation for her. So she's in this terrible, impossible position. What does she do? She turns to Samson and just starts weeping, using emotional pressure. She says things like, you must hate me, you don't really love me, you told my people a riddle but you won't even tell me the answer. She flips his own game right back on him, making it a test of their relationship. And this goes on for days, until finally, on the 7th and final day, Samson just can't take it anymore. He cracks. He tells her the secret about the lion and the honey, and she, in turn, immediately runs and tells the men. The betrayal is instant and total.
And Samson's reaction to this betrayal? Well, it's exactly what you might expect. Swift, furious, and incredibly violent.
So just before the deadline, right at sunset, on the 7th day, the men come to Samson. And they don't just give him the answer. They mock him with it. They say, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? They're not just answering, they're rubbing it in his face, letting him know exactly how they got the information. Samson's reply is just as sharp and cryptic. He says, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle. A heifer is a young cow that hasn't had a calf. It's a pretty crude way of saying, you only solved this because you used my wife to get the answer. He knows exactly what they did.
So that same divine power comes over him again, but this time it's fueled by pure rage. But he doesn't attack the 30 companions there at the feast. No, he goes down to another Philistine city, Ashkelon, kills 30 men there, takes their clothes, and brings them back to pay off the bet. He literally throws their spoils at the feet of the men who solved a riddle. It's an absolutely brutal way to settle a debt.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, there's one final, bitter betrayal. Samson storms off furious and goes back to his father's house. While he's gone, his wife's father gives her in marriage to one of the other men, one of the companions who is at the feast. The whole thing is just a complete mess, setting the stage for a whole lot more violence to come.
So that leaves us with a really tough question, doesn't it? In a story like this, where there are really no clear heroes, who's most to blame for how it all fell apart? You've got Samson, the deceiver with his impossible riddle. You've got his wife, the betrayed who was threatened into giving up the secret. And you have the conspirators, the men who used death threats to win a bet. When everyone is at fault, who's most at fault?